What's up, people? I am back for another video. So, I'm gonna still do X-Men, but I'm gonna probably do that in a few hours. It's 9:20 right now, so 3 hours, so like midnight, 11 at the earliest. I'm gonna review X-Men, but I figure it makes way more sense since I've been kind of hyping this movie up for a little bit that I talk about this first. And if you're hearing like rustling, that's because it's windy as fuck over here. So you're hearing like the leaves and like the trees kind of blowing. So sorry about that. But I remember apparently this was originally a Grindhouse short that someone made, and then eventually it just got made into a movie. Man, I was excited when I saw the trailer because for me, y'all know I love slashers, but also I wanted finally a legitimate Thanksgiving horror because we never really have one. Yeah, there's Thanksgiving, but that's a mean movie, and there's some other movies which I may review not this week but the week after. Actually, no, I'll review one of them this week. I'll try to squeeze it in. One of them is called Blood Rage. It came out in like '81, and it was a horror movie, a slasher technically during Thanksgiving, but it was like some unknown one. So we didn't really have any outside of Thanksgiving in terms of somewhat mainstream that people know. There wasn't one. So it was kind of nice. That's why when I saw that this was being made, I was like, finally, we have a legitimate slasher set in Thanksgiving. I've been kind of wanting that, because Halloween obviously has them. And Christmas has a lot. Even New Year's Eve has some. So to finally see one that's based off of Thanksgiving was like a legit one. Set in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So the premise is, it opens up. Jessica Wright, who her father owns a store called Wright Mart, along with her friends Evan, Gabby, and Scuba. Who Scuba? We'll get to it. He's probably my only real, in terms of the characters. It's probably the only negative. It's not necessarily him. It's just when I see him on screen, I feel like he should be in like another movie. He feels like he's almost being a comedian. There is comedic elements to this movie to an extent, but the comedy he was doing was almost like not horror comedy. It was like straight up just joke comedy. It just didn't work here. But I do like the premise. It very much, leading up to the movie, Eli Roth was talking about how basically there's a lot of 90s inspiration for this movie. And there is. It pretty much, I said this to my friend Mara, that this movie is basically if Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer had a baby. Because it very much has that similar, more I Know What You Did Last Summer, because the killer wants revenge for someone, in I Know What You Did Last Summer's case, he wanted revenge for the people who ran him over. In this case, the premise is Wright Mart's open for Black Friday. It starts like a year before, and basically a riot starts. Well, because while this is happening, Jessica and her friends, because her dad owns a store, they're able to get in early, and then once everyone breaks through, stampedes in the store. Multiple people get killed. A guard, the wife of Mitch, who owns the store or works at the store, gets killed. And then Patrick Dempsey. I guess I'll spoil the reveal. We get the reveal that basically he and Amanda were having a baby who's Mitch's wife, but she ends up getting killed. She ended up getting killed during, and I'll admit the kills they do not hold back. There's a lot of gore. It's not like Terrifier gory, but they don't hold back on the kills. And then a year later, the people who participated in the Wright Mart fiasco, Wright Mart's about to open up again for Thanksgiving, and basically all the people who were there, and Jessica and her friends start getting cryptic messages from John Carver, that's the mask, basically the mask that the killer's wearing. and we find out that Lizzie, who's like the diner owner, she's like the first one who gets killed, and basically everybody who's dying has some kind of attachment to what happened, and that the killer basically wants revenge for what happened. So yeah, it has. That's why I was saying, little I know what you did last. A lot more I know what you did last. A little Scream because obviously there is the we don't know who the killer is, the reveal, and yeah, that aspect it was kind of strange, but in a good way. It wasn't like it was a blatant rip off or anything like that. Like no, it was original, and I actually liked the characters. I actually found the movie pretty funny, like in a good way. I felt like it was a dark comedy, but in a good way. It wasn't like fringe humor, like it wasn't forced humor. The humor was well paced. Like the guy who sold them the guns, the kids the guns. He's actually probably my favorite character in the movie. I thought he was but yeah, so he sells them the guns, uh, and throughout the film, people start getting killed. The killer trails them. We do get a chase scene, which is pretty cool. Jessica is an okay lead. She's not. I'm not. I don't think she's like anything special or anything. Like she's not. I wouldn't put her up there with like some of the greatest, final girls in in horror history. But she was all right. I think she served her role. Um, so John Carver, we'll just call him that, kidnaps everybody, feeds them. The scene where he kills um her father's Amanda's dad's wife is pretty brutal. Like he locks her in the grill or oven, sorry, and pretty much see her cook. Like they don't hold back either, man. On some of the and then when he pulls her out and he cuts her, it was a little off-putting to watch. Then we get the reveal that the killer, because the red herrings throughout the film are Evan, not Evan, Jessica's ex boyfriend, um, trying to look for that, Bobby, and I think Ryan was the one she's dating. So Ryan is the one she's dating now, and then Bobby's the ex. So they made you think it was either of them. I didn't think it was. It was way too obvious. And it would have probably been too on the nose for like, okay, now you're just doing Scream. If we had one of the killers either be her boyfriend or ex, it would have been, it was too on the nose. They're obvious red herrings. Like very fucking obvious red herrings. It was like, but we get the reveal that the killer was Sheriff Newton, because we find out that him and Amanda were actually about to have a baby because they had an affair. And so he basically wanted revenge. And Mara did point out a plot hole that apparently Amanda, Jesus, got pregnant, and you don't really notice it. And yeah, it kind of is glaring. For me, my big gripe, I only have one. Or I guess that kind of could be considered, but my main one. There's a scene where he kidnaps everybody. He's like giving them dinner, and he's like, when he kills Evan, like he like smashes his head in, and is like, I was thinking it was gonna go on for a while. We see the killer like talk, and I felt like it was cut very short because basically what ends up happening is Jessica and Scuba managed to escape because she has like a ring that she got from the guy who gave it to her. I'm trying to find his name. I really want him because actually he's like my favorite fucking character in the movie. I'll just say the guy who sold them guns. I'm trying to find his name because he gives her like a ring that has like a metal point so you can cut. So she cuts her way out. Along with Scooby, they manage to escape. Oh no, Scooby doesn't get killed. thought he did. No, he didn't. So she manages to escape, and then this is where we get the reveal that it's Newton later on. He makes it seem like it's Bobby who's the killer, and it ends with them seemingly defeating Eric, by blowing up. Because she uses a musket to shoot the balloon, which causes an explosion. Seemingly, Newton dies. Newlon. Eric, I'll just say Eric. Eric dies, but we don't find the body. And there's a shot of like a specific firefighter. You may think that may be Eric. He may have escaped. So the way it ends, it definitely sets up a sequel. But I don't know if I want one. I kind of in the camp of, I'm okay with this being a one-off, but like, did he make it out? Did he? But you know they're not going to do that. They're going to make a sequel. If they do, make it just one more. I don't want this to go to like supernatural shit. Don't make it just a retread of this one. Like, do something unique with it if you're going to make a sequel. And make it a one-off sequel. I don't really see where you can go past 2, but you can go 2 movies. Make it that Eric found a way to get out, because you didn't necessarily see him die, so it wasn't like, oh, he definitively died. So overall, I really love this movie. I thought the characters were fun. It was basically what I fucking wanted it to be. I just wanted it to be a simple slasher, and that's what I got. You could tell, like, the 90s, not even just 90s, though. Like, there's a little My Bloody Valentine inspiration in there. Obviously, Halloween with the opening shot because of the POV shot. And there's scenes where where's one scene where Jessica looks over and you see Carver in the costume just standing there like Michael Myers style. So there's definitely homage to other horror, but I would say mainly Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer are like the big 2. More, I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is probably the first one because the whole revenge killing coming back a year later kind of thing. So, but yeah, I really love it. I definitely recommend it. It's only an hour and a half. It's fun. If you are squeamish, you probably aren't going to want to watch it because they don't hold back on the gore. Because there's one scene during the parade scene, someone gets like, because the parade, like the beam on the thing they're on, breaks through the car and it like goes through the dude's face. So it's almost like Final Destination shit. Like they don't hold back on the violence, and I that's another reason I really love it. And like I said, I think this movie is actually pretty funny. Like, it's genuinely funny. There are some good, funny moments. Granted, a lot of it was the dude who sold it. Because there's even another line where he's trying to sell him initially, and Scuba's like, he's like telling Scuba, calm down, Scooby Snacks. It was like, this movie actually tried to be funny, but like not in a cringy way. And yeah, man. I thought that this movie had atmosphere. I liked the Midwest town feel. I like that they didn't, besides Patrick Dempsey, he's probably like the only real major name in the movie. Granted, the actor who played Mitch, I think I'd seen him in movies too, but in terms of names, really it was only Patrick Dempsey. And why I'm happy they did that, because one thing I really love about horror, like good horror, the cast looks like people you see in your everyday life. That's what makes Scream so good. That's what made I Know What You Did Last Summer so good. A lot of great slashers is they feel like normal people you just see every day. And I think they really did a good job of that, especially with like your main cast who's getting chased, Jessica's team, Jessica and her friends. They actually feel like normal people. They don't just feel like, oh, these are just actors. So I'm going to watch this again probably next Friday or this coming Friday or weekend, because I really do want to watch it again. Because I want to, and I'm definitely going to give it a more critical eye. Like, because as of right now, I don't have a lot of criticisms. Like, besides I wanted the dinner scene. That's not necessarily a criticism. That's more just I kind of wanted it to go a bit longer. I think there could have been more. You know what? Okay, this is a criticism. I think the ending was a bit rushed, kind of. Like, I felt like they should have. I thought the reveal was going to happen at the dinner scene, but I was wrong. And then she escapes, and then they had to, like, rush. Oh, let's reveal that, Eric's the killer. I just felt like they needed to be a little bit more before they just up and did the reveal. But besides that, the movie itself's really fucking good.
What about
one of my favorite slashers this year for sure. Horror movies this year. Nefarious and Talk to Me are probably still a bit better. Those are still my top two, but this would definitely be number three. Because I will be definitely making a favorite, like I did last year, favorite horror movies of the year. This would at least be number three. I had a nice fun time. I saw. I went to go see it last night, like really late. It was like 11:30 when I went to go see it, and I had fun. It was just a fun slasher, something simple. It shows me horror just needs to stick to this. Stop with this elevated horror shit. I don't hate it. It's just it's not necessarily I hate elevated horror. I hate that term. It comes off pretentious, and that's why I've kind of grown to call it pretentious horror. Like the shit like Jordan Peele makes, or shit like Hereditary, where I get it's fine if people like those movies, but for me, they feel very pretentious. They feel like, oh, guys, we're not horror. We're not like those other horror movies. And that's why a movie like this works, because it's simple. It doesn't try to do anything crazy. It doesn't have to, move the needle. Not everything has to be a needle mover. Sometimes just fucking do something simple. And that's what this was. This was very much, this could have came out like in 2001, and I could believe it. So out of 10, I give it a 9, like honestly. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I only have one really big gripe. Everything else I really love. Good, decent characters. I won't say great characters, but decent characters. Believable story. I loved it. It's paced. The movie's pacing's really good. Like it just goes. There's not like a lull point. There's not a point where I was like wanting to check my phone or wanted to do something else. Like it was good. So, but I guess we could start now on the actual story. So the movie opens up. Right, starts a year later, like a year ago, a year before, like I said, and Right Mart is opening, and Mitch leaves for the store. Along there, so does Jessica, and this is where you meet Evan, Scuba, I think Lizzie is one of them. Evan, Gabby, Scuba, and Yulia, and Bobby. This is the group, our main kind of core group. They manage Bobby. She lets them in, and outside. I did like this scene. I love the security guard who was, talking shit to the Black Friday people. I thought that part was actually pretty funny. I actually love the banter. Granted, yeah, all the people at the Black Friday meeting, Black Friday thing were all kind of shitty people, but I did still find it funny, like the banter between everyone. So, unfortunately, everyone managed to break in. People start breaking in, not getting in, fighting, stampeding through. One of the security guards ends up killed, which that was actually sad. I did like the sequence, and I actually found it kind of sad when you see her die, because then Amanda brings Mitch, like some food, and he asks her to wait there, and then she gets knocked over in the melee, and you see like a lot of people get hurt. Like they really show you the dark side of Black Friday. I don't know if necessarily it happened like this nowadays, but I still did like this sequence. I thought it was sad to watch when you see Amanda get her hair caught in a it was Lizzie and like Lizzie, who's like one of the people you see outside, get using her cart, and Amanda's hair she's like in an argument with somebody else for a cart, and Amanda's hair gets caught, basically pulling her scalp, like to the point where, and I think she gets also like her head knocked cracked. So it was like a mix of things of what kills her. and then Mitch just sees her. And then that's who I thought was the killer. I'll be honest, guys. If you're asking me, when I was who I suspected the whole time, I thought it was him. I thought it kind of made sense. He had a motive. His wife got killed, and they didn't at least lead. They didn't lead on that her and Eric had an affair. They never mentioned that yet. So at that point, I thought it was him. He had the most motive. But looking, probably if I watch it again, I definitely will catch on. Like, yeah, he kind of is an obvious red herring now that I see it. But so yeah, but that sequence though, the Black Friday sequence was well done. It was sad to watch the people you saw die. Even the people in the stampede, like a lot of them got hurt. Oh, Bobby, who's like this major athlete, like he's one of the best. He was like a promising pitcher in baseball during the melee because he was trying to help the security guard who got stampeded on, which his death was sad too. Like, to be honest, he's all bloody. You just see like everything on top of him. Bobby was trying to happen, and I guess he had his hand like this. Somebody stepped on him and his hand got cracked. I'll be honest, that was a little hard for me. Broken bones fuck me up, guys. I'm weird like that. I can watch someone get like sliced open for the most part in a movie, but someone getting like any kind of limb broken fucks me up. Legs especially, but even like wrists. That was fucking hard to watch. So because of that, we time jump. Now we're at a year later. Unfortunately, Thomas, who I'll be honest, I guess if you want another kind of negative, I don't feel like we get a lot of Thomas. I like the actor who plays him. I'm trying to look it up. The actor who plays Tom, Rick Hoffman. I've seen him in like a lot of other movies. He's usually like the comedy kind of guy, and I feel like that's what he was in this. And I don't know, because I felt like he was kind of the start of everything. They should have done more with him. They don't really touch on him and his daughter much. Like, there's a scene where she's trying to have a conversation with her dad, and because it's a case of he has a wife, like, and that the daughter doesn't really like, so it's that kind of thing, and but that's like it. I wanted a little bit more. Like, if you're gonna do like them, you gotta touch on the relationship. I felt like the movie did, and I'm not saying you gotta do some drama shit or something crazy, but a little bit, because I feel like Thomas is kind of barely in the movie. I feel like he's just kind of there. So, but aside from that, so basically everything's different. Gabby, so everything's different now. Fucking Evan and Gabby are still together, but Bobby is now out of the picture. He's basically ghosted Jessica. She's now dating Ryan. So and they start getting messages out to the table set. I actually love the opening because you see the actual before the I should have said this before the Black Friday sequence. You see the killer's POV. Like, you see him like have all these cameras, like these computers, have this all set. You see his table. You don't see his face, which I like, but you kind of like see his room, like his, like, I guess, killer back cave, if you want to call it that. And I did like that. I thought that was actually an interesting way to open the film with the killer, but you don't see it. So they're all at this diner in there. Then the first murder is of Lizzie, who's part of the Black Friday incident. So she's the first one killed. Because of that, she ends up getting killed pretty brutally. Like, even just he slices her hand and like her finger, basically, so she can't like. Oh, and he also like slams her face to like the freezer door because her face is gonna get stuck. So she has to like pull her face off, and she puts her hand. One of her other hand was there, so like her fingerprint got ripped off. Because there's a scene she's trying to use her phone, but she can't like use it because her hand's cut, and her other finger which uses to unlock the phone with the fingerprint scanner. Her fingers was ripped off on the door. So I just like that. I like that little detail of like this killer's fucking smart. He actually put some thought into it. He's like, I know you're gonna try to use your phone. You can't. Your hand's cut. You have a big gash in your hand. So when she tries to swipe, it's just like blood coming out. And then her other finger, because she pulled it off because some skin came off because she was stuck to the ice. I just like that little detail because she was in the freezer. So she tries to get away. Seemingly the killer's seemingly left, so she tries to get away. But we see that the killer's in the car. And she tries to run, like basically jump in the trash can, but she can't get all the way in. So he hits the trash can, which basically, because of that force, would eventually make the top almost like a really sharp thing, and it slices her in half. And yeah, that was pretty bloody. So that was the first killing. So Jessica and her friends are starting to get tagged in multiple posts. Basically, the table is set, and so they start getting creepy messages. So at this time, Bobby comes back in town, talks to Jessica. We find out the reason he goes to Jessica because he kind of blamed her for basically not being able to becoming a pitcher, but he apologizes. It's kind of like starting to get back in her good graces. In the same vein as it makes Ryan jealous. Then the next murder is another security guard. He's the security guard, the other security guard that working that night. I really this is probably my favorite kill in terms of how funny it was, because he kills the guy pretty brutally. He stabs him with like a turkey baster, or not a turkey baster, electric knife, and decapitates the guy, and then stuffs his head in the bag. And then before the killer's about to walk out, and you hear the cat meows, and he feeds the cat, and he just pets it, and then walks away. It was, I don't know, something about that is more eerie to me. I'm actually happy, I'm not like, oh, don't kill animals in movies. I mean, granted, for me, if you're gonna do it, it has to make sense. Don't just do it just to do it. But I actually something more eerie that he just kills a guy casually and then just feeds his cat and then pets it like nothing's wrong, and then just leaves. It's something eerie about that in a way. I actually liked that. And it was also funny, I'll give Eli Roth credit for comedic timing in this movie. I thought while there was there's only now that I'm thinking about it, it's not necessarily a gripe, but there's this character Evan. He's the the main jock of the movie. He has this kid write him like that trope. You have the nerd write your report, and he does that. But for me, my only thing is, what was the point of that character? We don't. After that scene where he writes Evan the report, but it makes Evan look, basically kind of gets Evan in trouble. We don't really. No, I think we see him at the party, because there's a party that this kid's inviting everybody to. And I'm actually happy. The thing I was shocked too was they do go to this party, but just to buy guns. Jessica and Scuba, because this guy's trying to sell them guns, but and beer and all that. So after the second murder, and Amy and Lonnie, who we find out that Lonnie is he's the jock who basically kind of started if you're gonna be honest, the stampede, the Black Friday stampede. So he ends up getting killed. Evan and Gabby are abducted. Uh, while this is going on, Yulia's dad, who I'm not gonna lie, he feels like he should be in a different movie. He feels like I feel like he should be like some Russian mob leader. That's what he felt like to me. No offense to that actor, but it was just when he came on screen, I'm like, did this turn into like some Russian mob movie? So he decides he's gonna move their family, but um, then they end up getting killed. Well, not killed. They get knocked out because he uses like a trank gun. I'll admit at one point I thought it was a real gun, but it was a trank gun. So while this happened, Jessica and Scuba. Jessica at this point basically told her boyfriends to fuck off, her ex and her current boyfriend to fuck off because they're like fighting and they can't get each other's over. Because this was after Jessica had just gotten attacked, so she kind of got mad at them. It's like, just stay away from me for a while, kind of situation. So they're gone from the. It's basically a way to write them out of the movie for a little bit. Basically, to add suspicion because you don't see them for a while at this point, either of them. So Jessica and Scooby go to Scuba. Sorry, I'm thinking Scooby. Sorry, Scuba buy the gun from this guy. And I'll admit, he is probably my favorite character in the whole movie. The gun seller guy. He was fucking great. I found his character funny, but like in a good way. Um, he was like, I actually found him funny. I found him like he had some good lines. I wanted a little bit more from him, but I get it. He wasn't part of the main group, so he gives her a ring, and this is a bit later before the parade. So while this happens, yeah, Gabby and Evan gets abducted, and um, Yulia gets basically about to get murdered, and I do love the use of phones in this movie too. I probably should talk about that too. Like the use of phones and like technology was really nice. Like he was streaming the kills. Like after killing Manny, that's the name of the other security guard. He puts his head on a table, and I love the social media. Yeah, this is a bit later, but when he kills Evan, because Evan streamed them going to the Black Friday event. So he basically his murder got streamed, and you see him just get killed, and you see like the likes and stuff. I really like the use of social media. This is like probably one of the better uses of social media in a horror movie. Besides, I'm actually gonna review this one at some point too, maybe. Unfriended, the first one. I've only seen the first one. I know there's a second one, but I've never seen it. But yeah, the first one, and yeah, um, that's like the only other horror I can think of where they really use social media really well, and this is probably one of my favorites. I really thought that was an interesting use of social media because and the technology because he's also streaming, filming him John Carver filming himself, um, basically holding Yulia hostage. So Scuba and Jessica try to save her, but they don't make it in time. And basically, Yulia gets pushed into a saw, like a table saw, and she gets fucked up, man. Like I said, they don't hold back on the kills in this movie. So, along with the police, Jessica at this point is because she finds one of the photos she finds is of Ryan um, talking with the security guard that ended up getting killed. And, basically, it's just there to make him look like a suspect. So they end up working together to basically plan a trap. And this is where we get a Thanksgiving parade. And I really love how smart they make the killer because the Carver, that's kind of what they're kind of calling them in this Wikipedia page, the Carver. Actually, I like that name. It kind of works as a killer name. So the Carver he wears something else. He doesn't actually wear his actual normal getup. He switches it. He wears like a clown outfit. And he kills, I think, Ryan ends up getting killed because Ryan puts on the turkey costume and he gets decapitated. and then he starts throwing smoke bombs, causing panic. He abducts the basically all of the Wrights and the rest of the victims, and killing the driver with the thing in the back, and it like impales him. It goes through the glass and it impales through his face. Like it was brutal. Like the blood effects look good too. So he kidnaps all of them. At this point, we see Mrs. Wright try to escape because you see John Carver, the Carver, cooking, sprinkling like stuff. Like he's basically cooking her like a turkey. Essentially, he's about to cook her like a turkey. You know, putting like all the little toppings, all the little spices and herb and all that shit, like all the little seasonings. Like he was about to cook this bitch. So she manages to get escape while the Carver's distracted. Tries to help another girl who's is the girlfriend of the guy they just killed. So she's still alive. She's in the refrigerator, but the Carver finds her. She's not able. This scene was actually kind of brutal too. He because he's using a pitchfork. He makes it seem like he walks away, and then before she's about to escape, before Mrs. Wright's about to escape, Carver breaks through the wall, throws the pitchfork at her back, paralyzing her, and that was sad because he thought she was about to have a chance to escape. And I'll give this movie this too. You actually kind of feel bad for the people who died. Not so, like some of them, no, you don't. Like that Manny dude, I would be honest, no, I didn't. Or that Lizzie chick in the beginning. I really didn't feel bad when she died either. But some of the characters, like, oh man, you kind of feel bad for them, Like her, it's because she died brutally because she then gets thrown in the oven, and man, that scene was hard to watch, dude. And yeah, you see her burn alive, get, cooked. Then we see everybody else tied up in that same table that we saw earlier. Also throughout the film, the killer gives like fake locations to the cops. I love that shit. I love how smart they do make the Carver in this. Like I guess thinking about it, it kind of makes sense that it was the cop because he was way too smart. Some of the shit he was doing, the way he fooled the cop was a bit like this couldn't just be some dude. So it actually kind of makes way more sense now thinking about it that it was him. So, and I actually like this scene because the Carver used like a voice modulator, kind of like Ghostface, but a little different. And I liked it. I liked that little scene where he's going on in his monologue. He killed Evan because he live streamed it. So he live streamed him basically bashing his head in with a hammer. That was brutal, man. Like, yeah, because Evan, like, he didn't even stream it. He didn't post it. It just, he recorded it, and you see like the likes and all that going on the phone too. I just like that little detail, like the little details they have in this movie. I love like I said, the detail, like when he cut that girl Lizzie's hand so she can't use her phone. Just that, like, that's just, I don't know if they intentionally did that or if it just they happened to look like that. Either way, it fucking worked. So then this is why my other problem with a little bit of the third act is a lot of the characters just kind of disappear. Like once because the guy who sold Scuba the gun gave Jessica like this ring that has like a spike on it basically, so she manages to use it so she can cut her way out, and gives it to Scooby and he cuts his way out. My problem with this was it was a little rushed. I wanted to see more of this dinner scene. Maybe like another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like around there. I wanted a little bit more from that dinner scene. Because I'll be honest, I thought the reveal was going to happen there. I actually thought like, oh, they're going to do the reveal right now. And they didn't. And that was fine. I'm okay with them not doing that. But I just wanted a little bit more. I felt like it's like they just kind of wanted to get to, oh, we got to have them escape. It's like, maybe let it go for like another, 10 minutes, a little bit before we get to them escaping, just a little bit. Just wanted a little bit more. But so yeah, Jessica manages to escape out of the house, and then the Carver chases her. She manages to climb the gate, um, and because he's like chasing her through like a field or something like that. So Jessica makes it back to the warehouse, sees Eric, the sheriff, not unconscious, and she sees a figure wearing the mask. And basically, it's a fake out. They want to make you think it's Bobby. So, and then New Lawn gets resuscitates and seemingly chases Bobby, makes it seem like he's the innocent one. And then we find out that everybody, basically, the survivors are fine. This is the only other part. Like, I kind of thinking about it as a little bit of a problem. Like, why didn't he kill everybody? He had the chance, like, once. And I get it. The reveal didn't happen at this point, but just it kind of retroactively, it is a little bit like when Jessica escaped. Why didn't you just kill everybody? You had everybody tied up. You could have killed the house. But I guess he still had to be the cop. It's whatever. It's a minor gripe. It's not like a plot hole like that. It's a little one, but it's not like a movie ruiner plot hole. It's one of those plot holes. It's like, it is a slasher movie. Sometimes you can't overthink it. I do give that kind of pass to these kind of movies. At the end of the day, just give me some killing. And that's what this movie did. Decent enough characters. So I can kind of get over that little plot hole. Like, even because it is a plot hole, but like, could have killed them all. Because it is like the survivors just kind of disappear, and it just becomes the Carver, which is revealed to be Eric, and Jessica. That's kind of it. Because they go in the room. She has she sees the evidence, and I guess it makes sense because throughout the film, this is my friend what Mara was telling me, why she figured it was him, was because he says things like you can't trust no one, certain things, and I guess it makes sense too. He's the killer because, like I said, he's really some of the way he outsmarted the cops. Yeah, like he that it couldn't just be some dude. And I thought he had a reason. His motive was reasonable because we find out he had an affair with Amanda, Mitch's wife, and actually was pregnant with his child. She didn't look pregnant though. She didn't. Like, I mean, I'm watching again, and I'll probably look out for her, but she did not look pregnant. You could have given her a little bump, but I guess they were because it was an affair, but still. I don't know. But other than that, like, I think this reveal was actually really well done. Because it was just a little detail. She noticed his pants had, like, the same kind of, thing that was in the field that he was chasing her in. And kind of wore similar shoes. Just like that little detail. And you know what? I gotta say, this reveal is better than the last two fucking Scream movie reveals. This film's better than the last Scream 5, at least. But both 5 and 6 had really bad reveals. And this one is definitely a way better reveal. Then we get a little bit of a chase. Bobby kind of saves Jessica. They both try to get out, try to get into his truck because, he's a pickup tow driver. But Eric hooks hooks it to a support beam and basically is about to kill him. But because earlier in the movie, I do like that this movie did do a callback. It was actually nice when movies actually still can do that. Like, callbacks are great. Where earlier in the movie, Jessica mentions the only gun she shot, because this is when she was buying the gun with Scuba, was that she only shot a musket. So she found a musket, which is from the parade, loads it with she shoots the balloon, which causes an explosion. or like the explosion, seemingly killing Sheriff Newland, and Bobby and everybody's reunited with their friends. And we do find out that they can't find remains. And when that happens, you do see a shot of Bobby, not Bobby. You see like a shot of a firefighter, kind of similar. If you remember the movie, the I Bloody Valentine remake, where you see Jensen Ackles still alive, posing as like a firefighter. So, and you see a shot. You don't. The firefighter doesn't unmask. He keeps the mask on, but there's like a really close shot of one firefighter walking away, and I'm supposed to believe that's him. It's basically, they don't say it, but it looks like it's him. Um, and then I didn't need this fake out in the end where Jessica wakes up one night and gets grabbed by a burning um, Newland. That's supposed to be like her having a nightmare, and I get it. I didn't need that. You didn't need to show that in the movie, especially if you're. It looks like they're gonna do a sequel. Show that in the sequel. I didn't need to see that here. I felt like it would have been better to just have that film end with that guy walking away, and it's basically implied that it's him walking away. That's kind of what I took away. That the firefighter that was walking away was him. So we'll see. I part of me is kind of I'd rather them not do it too. I'm okay with this having like an ambiguous ending like this where maybe he is alive. Is he alive? I'm okay with that. But I did enjoy this. It was nice just having a decent horror. Horror has been really strong this last year, and this was a good contender for one of the best of the year. Good kills. It was decent enough, funny. And like I said, yeah, they don't hold back on the violence at all in this movie. Like it goes hard. Decent characters. Eric's motivation makes sense. His reveal. You know what I think? Probably the reason he did it like that. I thought he was gonna have the reveal at the dinner, but I think they broke it apart. Like because it was supposed to. It almost feels like the "I Know What You Did Last Summer" reveal, where you get the reveal of Ben. Of Ben. Of Ben. So, but I think that's kind of what they were going for here. Ben Willis. They're going for the Ben Willis from "I Know What You Did Last Summer" reveal. It was kind of similar to that. That's kind of what it felt like with Eric's reveal here. But it was a decent enough motive. It makes sense thinking about it now, like how good he is with technology, how he was able to outsmart the police. It really does make sense that it is a police officer. And there's the little lines he says, especially if I'm in my rewatch, I'm definitely going to catch on to that. I didn't need that little stinger at the end with him, with Jessica having night. I didn't need that. That felt like that was kind of a cheap modern horror moment right there a little bit. It was like, oh, we got to have like a jump scare. I didn't need that. I actually like that idea of just it ending with we see this firefighter walk away and we wonder is that fucking Eric, because in that same line, because the line is said that we can't find any remains. So I would have rather them had just ended it there. I didn't need that little stinger at the end. That felt like kind of just thrown in there so you can have a modern horror moment. But aside from that, movie was really good. Good atmosphere. I like the setting in Plymouth. A killer pilgrim look kind of makes sense. Now the Carver is born. I'm okay if they do one more movie and make it like a two-parter, but that's it. I don't think there's no need for another one after that. But I think Eli Roth did really good. It's nice having finally a definitive Thanksgiving horror. I've been wanting one for a while, and it's like nice to have one, and one that's actually good. And I'm happy this delivered. Yeah, like I said, there's little gripes here and there, but it is a pretty good fucking movie. So I recommend it, especially if you love slashers. It's also kind of funny. Like there's some funny lines in here. It is a lot of violence though. Not Terrifier level though, but you do see people, like, you do see guts, you do see people's face get stabbed in, decapitations. The man he's killed specifically, he gets killed with like a razor wire. Yeah, it's overall a really good movie. So 9 out of 10. So the plan is I'm gonna come back in maybe 2 hours, and I'm gonna, not maybe, but in about 2 hours, I'm gonna go film another video. I'm gonna review the first X-Men First Class, which I was supposed to do Friday, but just my Friday was crazy. And then last night I saw this, and I saw this at 11:30 last night. So by the time I got home, it was like 2 a.m. So I couldn't. It was way too late. So, but 12 a.m. I am gonna review X-Men First Class, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do my 2007 list, and then I'll try to do 2007 tomorrow, and the next month, the Monday after, I'll be doing 2008. So I want at least not 2-year lists. I've been kind of in and out with those lately. Tuesday, I'm gonna do. I found a funny movie, not a funny movie, but one of those movies like Cruel Jaws. This is one I actually watched a couple of months ago, but I figured why not review it and watch it again. I'm gonna review Frankenhooker. Yes, the title's real. It's called Frankenhooker. So I'll be reviewing that on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I'm gonna for sure do The Prowler. Thursday will be Annabelle Creation. I don't know, man. These Conjuring spinoffs are low key killing me, but I'll keep it going. And then Friday will be X-Men Days of Future Past Road Cut, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do on the weekend, because there's nothing new coming out this week or this coming week. Like, there really isn't. So I'm probably just gonna. I'll try to see if I can find like a screenwriting article, or I'll see if I can find like a topic to talk about. But there won't be any like new reviews. There's nothing new coming out this coming weekend. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna cheers. Talk to y'all later. So I definitely recommend this movie. It's a fun one, especially if you love horror. I think if you really love horror and slashers, you're gonna like it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Peace.